Hello everyone, and welcome to another installment of Erin's Book Club. I have, I guess, another book that I read. It may be kind of cheating, or it may not be kind of cheating. But I'm going to get into it, and you guys, I guess, can decide one way or the other, because it doesn't really matter. It's my channel. The book that I would like to review is the first book of the Last Herald Mage trilogy by Mercedes Lackey. And this is a concise book, or a book with 3 books in one. And I read this years ago. I actually wrote it down. May 24th of '07 is when I read it last. And I remember very little about it, but I remember that I enjoyed it. It includes 3 books in the major book here called Magic's Pawn, Magic's Promise, and Magic's Price. And I was going to read the entire book and then do a major book review at the end of the entire book. But my concern here is that each book is its own kind of character arc. In each book you learn about different characters that I think if I continued on to the next book without kind of giving due process to the first book, we would lose some of the familiarity of the characters. And I think some of the ones that are no longer with us will be kind of forgotten after the grieving period. Before I go any further, this will not be spoiler free, so if you have not read any of these, then do read them please and come back. But this first book, this Magic's Pawn, I think it may be one of my best books of this year for multiple reasons. The premise of the book is there are elite mages, or magic wielders that are kind of like paladins of the society who want to use their powers for good and to protect people. And as part of this mage elite, a lot of them are chosen by what's called companions, that are horse-like beings with human-like consciousness. And the author does such a good job. I remember this is where I fell in love with Mercedes. She does such a good job in... Oh, and Ishi is going to help with the book review. Anyway, she does such a good job in finding and defining each character. And this is the very first book that I ever read with same-sex relationships in it. And it's done tastefully. It's done in a way where it's not really about the sex. It's about the love that comes with it, to the point where she actually kind of fades to black when the sex portion of the scenes happen, and you still feel that love. You still feel that grief if one of the members have lost of that partner. There is explanations as to... Thanks, Ish. Can we keep going? Thank you. There are explanations as to why these same-sex marriages are okay and in fact natural in this world. And it plays parallel with our world, and why same-sex marriages really isn't a big deal. And yeah, okay, not everybody can be a same-sex marriage because our species would die out, but what's the problem with same-sex marriage? Love is love. Who the heck cares if your love is the same sex as you? Like, why is that even important? Why has that got anything to do with anybody but you and that partner? Just the same as like somebody liking the opposite sex. Why does that matter in the grand scheme of things? And it's written very well in this book. And the character, even though the main character is written as feminine and peacock-like in that relationship, is still very strong in the end, and very compassionate in the end. Not in the beginning, and halfway through this, there was multiple times where I wanted to just take the character and shake him and be like, you're being selfish and you're being broody only because you can only see this aspect on your own way. But I love books like that, because I love books where you want to reach in and be like, I'm following you and you're making the wrong decisions because you're involved in the book then. So really enjoyed Magic's Pawn. Cannot wait to start Magic's Promise. However, I do remember vaguely that in one of these next two books it gets pretty awful and pretty evil, but I what I thought remembered about happening in the first book I didn't either. So we'll see what happens, but I'm thoroughly enjoying this book. And I will let you know when I have another book read.